Okay. All right, we in here.
Welcome back to Insiders with LaDonna and Nadia. How are you guys doing today?
Did I do it
Hope
right?
well. So today's episode is about holiday grief. How are you guys holding up? I can tell you it has been a struggle since before Thanksgiving for me. Tonight I'm gonna share about what brings my holiday grief about, and how I've been dealing with it and what I have been doing, what tools I've been using to overcome it. Um, so some of the things, so my holiday grief comes from my father. Um, I've said this in some of our episodes. I lost my father when I relocated down to Texas. Well, I lost my father literally 2 days after Thanksgiving. And then his birthday is the 21st of December. So I absolutely hate when these holidays come about. And they used to be my absolute favorites. I'm a fat kid, so I used to look forward to Thanksgiving for the dressing and all the sweets, and Christmas, all the toys and all the gifts. Um, what I can say about holiday grief, from my experience, is it's something that sneaks up on you. It's not something that you can kind of prevent. You can only not maintain it, but you can only regulate it. Is really what it comes down to. Because sometimes it could be for the first year here it was hard after he passed, and then the second year it was like, okay, we did, me and my daughters, we did stuff together to kind of bear through it. We celebrated his life, but this year, baby, when I tell you, I have a picture of my dad at my desk. I'll show you guys. um and I'm sorry, these are both my dads. This one right here is the one that passed. um so he raised me, he's been there for me all my life, and I knew he was sick when I left home, but I thought he would push through, and things didn't happen like I thought they would. He pushed through the first year, the second year it didn't go so well. But just going back to the holiday grief, this year it snuck up on me like a thief in the night. And it got to the point that one day I just called my sister crying. Like, I don't know where this coming from. Should not be over this, because he died in 2015, so it's been five. It'll be, actually, it made 6 years, I think. Yeah, it made 6 years. It made 6 years he's been gone. And so, you know, my dad was a good dude. Um, he was awesome. When people talk about agape love, that's what he was. That was what he signified to me. So just going back, like I said, I don't want to get too far off topic because, I'll do it to y'all. We'd be here all night. But, just dealing with the holiday grief, it would almost consume me this year. Like, it got me to the point where I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to do nothing. But there goes kind of that mantra of, it's not how I feel. It's about where I'm trying to be and where I'm trying to go. And I knew that I had to keep my hopes up, or at least keep the pep up a little bit. Like, I went through the emotions of the emotion. However, I did not let the emotion overtake me. Um, Only because I have daughters, and my youngest daughter really took my dad's death very, very hard, to the point that when we went to view his body when he passed, the funeral home directors had to console her. And she cried from Fond du Lac all the way to East Capitol. Um, so holiday grief, I guess just to discuss it is, I know it's a lot of viewers out there possibly experiencing it. I have a lot of friends on my timeline that just recently lost people, or some of them it's had been maybe a year or two, a couple of months. Even family members that have lost parents. I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with experiencing it. It's really normal. And I guess it's something that we just experience in the adulthood, because I really don't remember any of this as a child. And dealing with the holiday grief, I found some steps. I don't know if any of you guys have been checking our page, but I actually had posted a couple of days ago, or maybe it was last month, not a couple of days ago. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had posted some key factors to keep in mind when you're going through holiday grief, and I wanted to share those with you. And I actually had to kind of keep it in mind myself when I was going through the motions. And some of the tips, and these are self-care tips, were to be aware of your feelings. So that's when I acknowledged that, okay, I'm feeling this heavy feeling of emotions of missing my dad. And understanding that it's grief and it's gonna resurface. When we lose our loved ones, it's never that. They say in church a lot, and it's not even in church, it's people general. They say time heals wounds. It doesn't heal anything. What it does is it simply helps you to be able to deal with it a little bit better. You're always going to have that love for that person in your heart. You're always going to yearn for them. You're always going to miss them, no matter what the circumstance on how they left us. It's that feeling that's going to always.
Nadia, I'm sorry. Cut your camera on.
Oh, I think it probably quit. Can you see me now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so just going
It
back
just went
to
back
that.
off. Go ahead.
Dang, I'm trying to look at the. Can you see me now?
No.
Nobody's really doing a number.
There you go.
I can't look at the other one. Let me see. Oh, and this one is live. Let me see. Give me 1 second, y'all. Y'all might not see me, but I'm just trying to get the other steps. Okay, so the next step is being okay with saying no. I ain't gonna say I don't know how to say no, but I didn't want to leave my house during the holidays, and I still don't want to leave my house. I'm about to have a house full of people in the next couple of weeks, and I'm having an anxiety attack, just because of the circumstances. But being okay with saying no. Sometimes during holiday grief, I'm not saying it's okay to isolate yourself, but sometimes you could cause more harm than you could cause more damage than good with saying yes to everything. Sometimes you just need that time to yourself. You need that time to yourself to process those feelings during this time. It's not to push people away. So it's saying, hey, I just need a couple hours to myself before I stop by for dinner. And it's giving you time to process those emotions. It's not saying, you know what, I'm shutting off my phone, and if I don't call y'all tomorrow, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to say no. It's okay to decline people when they say, hey, you want to come to my house, this is that, because this is your time. And what people don't understand with grief, you have to go through a cycle. It's a cycle. Grief is a cycle. It's not just this person died, I'm feeling this type of way. And I cannot remember all of the cycle, like all the steps of the cycle for grief. I know that it's guilt. It's guilt. It is the blame. Well, I guess guilt flawed with blaming. I just remember being guilty. Because for me, it was guilt. And let me just, because I don't want to go all over, but for me, it was guilt, because I remember that night when my father passed, I was in my feelings, having one of my little rants, because I came home and tried to surprise everybody, and nobody had time, and this, that, and the third. And I remember telling my daddy called me the day that he passed. He called me that morning, and he was talking to me, and he was like, Nadia, don't let this circumstances deter you from being here. Enjoy yourself, blase 50. And he's like, I love you. And I was like, well, Daddy, the only time I'm gonna come back and visit is for you, and if something was to happen.
So you had talked to him earlier that day?
Yeah, I did. This was earlier that day. And so he had told me, Nadia, come up to the hospital. I want to see you. And I remember when I first got to Milwaukee, when I came home, and I looked at him, and I was just like, my daddy looked like he was, he was sick all that time, but he really looked sick. And I remember that night, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go up to the hospital, and then I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go head out and go out with my homeboy. And I was up picking my homeboy up, because we was gonna go to the hospital, sit with my daddy, and then we was gonna run to the store and leave out. And I was sitting in front of his house waiting for him to come out. And it was my mother called me first, and she was like, you know, you gotta go to the hospital. They need you to help him. And I'm like, he at the hospital though. And then my sister called me. She said, don't go to that hospital by yourself. She said, go get mom. And I found out that my father had passed by listening to my mother's conversation. And I was on the expressway. I damn near lost it. And I felt so guilty because I think about that day and I replay that day every day of my life and thinking I put so many things before going to the hospital to see him. I think that's where, and this is just piggybacking off of our last episode, where I get that faith and that momentum of pushing till something happens, because I now have to look at my life without my daddy as being that I don't have to go to Wisconsin to visit him. My daddy's spirit is with me everywhere I go. I keep my dad's stuff around. I'm one of the, I ain't gonna say slow, but I'm one of the people that when my family members that mean a lot to me die, I keep their stuff. So my grandparents, I got shirts to my granddaddies, shirts to my grandmamas, and hats and stuff. And I keep them all as a way of protecting us. I keep them on all of my kids' doorways and their rooms and on my door. But now I think of it like I'm really working towards not only making myself proud, my kids proud, my mother, and my other family members, is making my dad proud of me, because I felt like a failure. That was a lot of regret that I had too. I felt like a failure to him. So just getting back on topic of holiday grief, you know, it's cycles. I wish I had some of my paperwork. I should have been a little bit more prepared about the cycles of grief, but there's multiple cycles that you go through. I just had one on the tip of my tongue. So it's guilt. It is dang, I got the word on my tip of my tongue and I cannot think of it. I wish I had some of my paperwork with me.
Is shame one of them?
I don't think shame is one of them. It is guilt, and it's another one where basically you're not guilty, but you basically act as if nothing happened. Like it's denial. There you go. Denial is guilt. Denial. You go through a stage of denial. Like it is as far, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance?
Yes. So it's, yep. There you go. And the bargaining is, that was where I was at, and where I have between the guilt and the bargaining is where I have been when it comes to my dad, especially when that holiday depression or grief comes around regarding him. Because it's like, if I just would have went from where I was at after talking to him and went to go see him, or if I could just have one more moment with him, or I could call him. And it's crazy because I got a voicemail that every time I change phones, I send a voicemail to my sister so that I can keep that voicemail to listen to my daddy talk to me. But what I can say in encouraging others that may be experiencing holiday grief, it's a support system out here. We're here if you guys ever want to get on and, you know, talk. I know that they have a lot of groups with people that, you know, you lose people, whether it be due to violence or, you know, just people just dying. You know, it's support out here for that type of thing. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like, oh, I'm crazy, this person been gone this long, because it don't matter how long a person been gone. It doesn't change the fact that you are hurting because they're lost. And it's allowing yourself, like I said, it's allowing yourself to feel without indulging or allowing that feeling to overcome you. That's what keeps so many of us back from healing from grief, is because we allow that feeling of grief to consume us, and we don't even know that it has so many cycles to it, nor do we even know that it's such thing as it. We just think that we process it normal on day-to-day basis. But just kind of keeping some of you guys aware that, you know, it's the holiday season, it's to be expected. You're gonna miss those twos and twos. What I do with my holiday grief sometimes when I'm in a little bit more better spirits is I celebrate. So being down here, like I said, these people that taught me some new stuff. But they taught me this thing is called the Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happened on like October, but you basically get candles or you get the food that your loved one like, and you guys basically celebrate it.
Yeah, who tradition is that? What
It's
culture's
Hispanic.
tradition?
It's Hispanic. It's Mexican, I think.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I do that. Or like the first year my dad passed, we went out bought him a birthday cake. We sung happy birthday. Yeah, okay, let me get myself together because I almost started crying. But
Oh, Pookie.
it's to be expected. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the holidays. You're gonna miss those loved ones and the traditions you had. Christmas, I think my daddy was born in a perfect month because every day was Christmas with him. Anybody that knew him, any of my friends that knew him knew that when you came around me, he treated you just like he treated me. It wasn't no different. So every day was Christmas. He always gave the same love. He never changed up. Nothing could ever deter him from the way he loved me. And so I think he was born in that month for a reason because he just spread that joy. And so Christmas, I think as much as I have anxiety for this Christmas and having all my family here from both sides of my family, it's something I prayed for because I haven't had a Christmas with all of my family in one house since my dad passed. And this Christmas is going to be the first Christmas I have my other side of the family, which is my biological dad's kids and wife here. Well, my stepmom, I don't even like referring to her as that. My stepmom, I love my mama too, you know. But so as much as I'm complaining, talking about I'm having anxiety attacks, I feel like my daddy giving me that because I didn't expect that. And he know that's something that completes me. So I hope that this is kind of helpful to some people. I know it sounded like a rant. I was kind of every which way, but just knowing like you're going to experience these emotions. The whole cycle of grief is something that when it happens, you definitely have to address it because if you don't, you're going to keep experiencing those cycles over and over and over until you resonate with yourself about and come to terms with whatever happened between you and that loved one or how things ended or being at peace with that loved one being gone. But the holiday grief, if you get that first part in check, when the holiday grief comes, you'll be able to not let it consume. So I'm here to tell everybody, it's okay to feel those feelings of despair and feel those feelings of hurt and emptiness, acknowledge them, but also take care of yourself first. Um, so if that means you have to withdraw from being around certain people, if that means that you have to limit the time you spend around people, take care of yourself first and acknowledge that feeling and give yourself time to properly process it. Is there anything you want to say, Donna? Because I probably
Yeah, I did want to say that if you can conjure up the energy to be around good energy, that's actually a good idea. And too, with a lot of people losing their loved ones because of COVID, I think this is a good message. So I'm glad you came on today because a
So
lot
I
of people
hope that
experiencing grief. Yeah.
definitely. So I hope that this can help somebody. Knowing that grief is real. It's okay to experience it. There's nothing wrong with you. Make sure you get the help that you need to properly process the grief. Um, and knowing that this is gonna be a time, it's not every season and every holiday that you're gonna feel as bad. You're gonna have your ups and downs, but knowing how to process through those ups and downs. Because being a parent, and I know that some of you are, you got to function still for these kids. And like I said, with my daughter, we ended up having to go through therapy. And I also want to throw this out there when it pertains to grief. Understand that just as you're grieving, your children are grieving. So definitely, if I could give anything to anybody, I'm grateful for being here because they actually have groups that help um, people that are or children that are grieving on all different age groups. And me and my daughter, I posted a picture the other day of me and my daughter, our last year in that program. We did about 2 years in our program, 2 or 3 years. And I'm grateful for that program because it really helped my youngest. I had to go through moments of crying episodes just at random times. So it definitely have gotten better. So what I want to say, wrapping up our subject for tonight is make sure that just as you're grieving, you're getting that proper help for your children. Because your children are grieving and you don't want them going into adulthood thinking that, oh, well, this is how you deal with grief because my mom never got the help for grief or my dad never got the help for grief. And, they never even acknowledged that I was grieving. So definitely is programs out there to help with kids that have lost someone and helping them understand what grief is and how to process it. So I definitely recommend that too. Don't forget the children grieve. But
And from what I know, like if you are like low income and you receive like state assistance, I know for sure you can get therapy. You can go through therapy resources through them, and also check your employer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
EAP, Employee Assistance
So
Program.
yeah.
So I do thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And we'll be coming to you in the new year. I don't know how many of you seen for the Black women, mothers, even if you're not a mother, we're doing a motivational Zoom coming up soon. And it's to bring positivity, and we're doing shirts. And I wish I had the shirt up here with me. That's what I meant to bring up here with me tonight. But we're doing a positivity message after the New Year's, and we're doing vibe boxes. So if you ladies are interested,
Vision board.
Well, it's a vision board and it's a positivity, just kind of like a vibe thing. And it's going to be happening after the New Year's, and we're going to be doing shirts, and we're going to be giving out vibe boxes. That's going to include some nice things like sage in your house. Most people don't know you want to sage. If you want to remove the bad energy, you sage your house. So awesome, like so awesome.
When is the date to purchase those, the pre-order the boxes?
So it was the 17th is the last day to purchase, or at least to put in your order to prepay. We may be extending that. I have to speak with the representative that is going to be handling that part of things. And I just think it's going to be unique. It's going to be a vibe for real. Like if everybody tune in, I mean, we can't do too much because of COVID, but we can tune in and we can all do this thing together and bring positive vibes into New Year's. Because it's not about doing it the day before the New Year's. Like we get caught up in that whole stereotype and that whole
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution. I look at my vision board from 2 years ago and I'm just completing some of them goals. And some of them goals I ain't even touched. So let's not make it wait to the new year. You can do it after the new year. It's about acknowledging it, addressing it, and then taking the baby steps to get through it. Push until something happens, honey.
Yeah. And so we're going to come to y'all with more details, especially if we decide to extend the date to pre-order. We'll come back with more details about that. Matter of fact, we're just going to come back with more information because you guys can definitely tune in and join in on the festivity. Like again, she said, we're doing the vision boards. We got a whole vibe of thing going on. So we would greatly appreciate everybody that want to come in and join and add to it. So next episode, we definitely gonna have more information if you are interested. But thank you all again for tuning in to another episode of Insiders Talk. Y'all have been awesome. Again, get any feedback y'all have. If you have stories about grief and the stages that you went through, if you want to give any advice, please comment down below. And tune back in with us next time.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody. Y'all take care.
You too. Bye.